What are you doing in my swamp?
Hello everybody, this is Ogre Boy, and I'm going to be doing my ranking for the Child's Play franchise. I've actually done this ranking a couple times before. Once when I reviewed the original 7 back in 2018, and then when the remake came out in 2019, I redid the ranking, adding that movie into it. But this time I thought, since I re-reviewed all of them, I'd go ahead and give an updated ranking, because a lot of them have shifted and stuff and are in different spots than they originally were. And at the end of the video, I'll go ahead and tell you what my original ranking was, so y'all can see how things have shifted. So I'm going to go ahead and get going. Coming in at number 8 is Seed of Chucky. I just absolutely don't like this movie. I used to love it as a kid and stuff, and it was a really fun movie when I was 12 years old and everything. I think part of it was being a lot more immature back then and stuff. Maybe that was part of it, I don't know, but this movie just is not very good. It has really bad jokes, like they're not really offensive necessarily, they're just not very funny. And some of the acting in here is really bad, especially Redman. He was terrible in this movie. And I will say that Jennifer Tilly did a pretty good job. I mean, you could tell she was really trying to make this movie work as good as she could and everything. And the voice acting was fine with her and Brad Dourif and Billy Boyd as Glenn. Even though I didn't like Glenn, I thought he was fine as a character. So, like, the voice cast was fine. It just, the other humans aside from Jennifer Tilly were really bad. And John Waters was okay in his little brief moments in the movie. He was fine, but the other characters, the acting just was not very good on them. They weren't very well written or anything, or likable, and the kills were pretty lame in this movie. It had some of the worst kills and everything. So Seed of Chucky is easily my least favorite in this franchise. So it's number 8. And number 7 is Child's Play 2019. I really enjoyed this one quite a bit. I saw it in the theater a couple years ago and everything. Went in not really knowing what to expect, because I absolutely love the original franchise, like I've said a million times and everything. So I was kind of eerie about this movie and everything. I was a little bit more pumped because of Mark Hamill doing the voice of Chucky, but I wasn't like super excited for this one. I went to see it. I had a double feature that day with Toy Story 3, and it was a really good time at the movie theaters that day. I had already seen Toy Story 3 once, but I went ahead and saw it again that day. But this movie was a lot of fun. A really good remake in it. This is how you make a remake. It was kept familiar things about the series and stuff in this remake, where like the characters have the same names and there's like similarities, but it's not anything really like the original. Like the story is completely different, and it feels more like it's along the lines of a Small Soldier story than it is Child's Play. And I really like that about this movie. And the whole cast in here were really great, especially Gabriel Bateman as Andy. He was really perfect in this role, and I love how they developed the relationship between Andy and Chucky in this movie, and we actually get to see their friendship grow and stuff. It was done really well and everything, and it's a really good remake and everything. So Child's Play 2019 is number 7, and number 6 is Cult of Chucky. I really like this movie quite a bit. I think it's a really fun movie and everything. It's kind of underrated. Like, a lot of people I know just absolutely hate it because of some of the stuff that this movie does in the third act, which is really crazy, like the multiple Chuckies. It really doesn't make sense how he can split his soul into a bunch of different things, but like he's Voldemort or something. But I still like this movie. I think it's a lot of fun. I do wish we would have got more of Andy Barclay, though, but it was awesome getting to see Alex Vincent back and everything, and having a bigger role in this movie than he did in the last one, where that one was just a cameo, and everything setting up him having a bigger role in this one. Hopefully he'll have a lot more to do in future installments, but I really like the story, and the way the movie ended is really crazy. It had a really different ending for something in this franchise, so I like that they took risks and everything, and I love like the snowy setting and stuff, and being set in winter, and the atmosphere of the hospital and stuff is really good, and it's a fun movie. It's not super great, but it's not like one of the best in the franchise, but it's definitely still a fun movie. It just isn't as good as some of the others and everything, so that's why it's this low. I don't think it's really that bad, though. I don't think it deserves the hate that it gets and everything, and it left me wanting more, so I guess it did its job on that, at least. So Cult of Chucky is number 6, and number 5 is Child's Play 3. This is another one that I think is really underrated. It's actually probably the most underrated out of the franchise. Like I know a lot of people absolutely hate this movie, and I don't get it at all. I know the military setting, I think, threw a lot of people off and stuff, but I think it worked in this movie. It was something different and everything. They tried to do something a little bit different in the franchise, instead of having him just going around the house trying to kill the family and stuff. It's a fun movie. It's got a really good cast with some really awesome new characters like De Silva and Whitehurst, really great characters and everything that were introduced in here. Justin Whalen was really good as Andy, and has some of the best kills in the franchise too, and Chucky's one-liners are excellent in this movie, like the nothing like a strangulation to get the circulation flowing, or presto you're dead, are you effing kidding me, when Colonel Cochran just has a heart attack and dies after seeing him. And he has a lot of good one-liners in this movie and everything, so I absolutely love Child's Play 3 and everything. I hate having it this low on the list, but like I said, all of these movies are great, so you can't just fit all of them in the top, but it's definitely a really great movie, so it's number 5. And number 4 is Curse of Chucky. This was the first one that was released direct to DVD, and I remember when it came out and stuff, I was super excited for it. The trailers looked amazing, and everything. I could tell they were trying to take it back to the horror roots, and this was kind of a whodunit movie somewhat, but I love that they just took it back to its original horror roots and everything. Like Chucky makes a few little jokes and stuff here and there, but this one is probably the least jokiest out of the movies in the franchise since the first one. And I love the new character of Nika in here. I can't say I love all the characters in here, but I love Nika, and I think her niece Alice is a pretty likable character. Her sister is very annoying and one of the worst characters in the franchise. But I also love, this movie gives us a little bit more of Chucky's backstory. We kind of see a little bit more of what was going on before he was gunned down at the toy store and stuff in the first one, so I thought that was really good too, and I really like this movie quite a bit. It's not, it has some really bad CGI though, and that's why it takes it down just a teeny bit and everything, but I really do love this movie. I think it's a really great one. So Curse of Chucky is number 4, and number 3 is Bride of Chucky. This is the 4th movie in the franchise, and it was actually the 2nd movie I ever saw in this franchise. But I absolutely love this movie. It has a lot of meta humor and stuff, and everything, because of it being late 90s and stuff, and everything was trying to recreate the success of Scream and everything. Other franchises were doing this, like Halloween did it with H2O, and you got other movies like I Know What You Did Last Summer and Urban Legend and a bunch of other movies that tried to recapture the stuff that Scream did with its meta humor and all that. And this movie is one of the ones that worked the best. I just absolutely love this movie. I think it's absolutely hilarious. All the jokes land really well. Has some pretty good kills, and they keep the horror aspect done pretty well too, and everything. And it was a refreshing new take on the franchise when this movie came out, and unfortunately that didn't stick with Seed of Chucky and everything, but which I'm kind of glad, because we kind of got the series to go back to its original form and everything. But I love Bride of Chucky. I think it's a really good movie, and it was a great introduction to Tiffany too. She's one of my favorite characters in the franchise, although she's never been as good in this franchise as she was in this movie, unfortunately. But I still love her in this movie, and it's just really good movie in the franchise. So Bride of Chucky is number 3, and number 2 is Child's Play from 1988. This was the first slasher movie I ever saw, and I absolutely love this movie still. It still holds up really well, although there are little things that are dated and stuff, and like watching it on Blu-ray, stuff that I didn't really notice that I know some of my friends had pointed out in their reviews and stuff. I noticed this time because I watched it on Blu-ray for the first time the other day, and before then all I'd ever seen it on were really bad quality my really bad VHS tape that was about worn out when I got the DVDs and Blu-ray. And I absolutely love this movie, though. It's a lot of fun, really great whodunit thriller and everything. Even though the audience knows it's Chucky, the other characters don't. I love that about this movie, and Brad Dourif was perfect in the role, and the visual effects hold up really well, though. I mean, for being a movie that came out 33 years ago, it holds up really well and everything, and it's not the goriest and stuff, and Chucky don't have a lot of one-liners in this one, but it's still a really fun movie, and it's barely number 2. But my number 1 favorite Child's Play movie is Child's Play 2. I just absolutely love this movie. Every time I rewatch it, I like it a little bit more. It's a really great sequel. It continues the story in a way that just works perfectly for this franchise, and I love Alex Vincent. His performance in this movie is even better than it was in the first. Like, I get he was really young in the first movie, so I give him some slack and stuff because his acting wasn't super perfect in the first one, but he gets it done a lot better in this one. It has some really good kills in here, especially the guy working on the machine in the factory and stuff. And speaking of the factory, the climax at the factory is just one of the best endings in the franchise. I just absolutely love this movie. It's a really great sequel to the first movie and everything, and every time I watch it I like it a little bit more. And also, this one introduced one of my favorite characters in the franchise, Kyle, and she's just awesome in this movie. I hope we get to see more of her later. They brought her back for a brief cameo in Cold of Chucky, indicating she'll be back in other movies, so I really hope they do more with her. And just really great sequel, and it's easily my number 1. But yeah, so Child's Play 2 is number 1. And now for my original ranking. Some of the movies have changed slots and some of they didn't, so I thought I'd go ahead and read off my original ranking. When I did it last time, it was number 1 was still Child's Play 2. Number 2 is still Child's Play 1. Back then, number 3 was Curse of Chucky. This time it was Bride of Chucky. Number 4 was Cult of Chucky. This time it was Curse of Chucky. 5 was Child's Play 3, which it still is. Number 5. Number 6 back then was Bride of Chucky, and now it's Cult of Chucky. Number 7 is still the same, Child's Play 2019, and number 8 is still the same, Seed of Chucky. So, yeah, that's my ranking for the Child's Play franchise. Let me know in the comments how you would rank these movies. If you don't want to do your full ranking, tell me your favorite and favorite. And I hope you enjoyed this video, and have a good day, everybody.